So why don't we begin sitting on the block? Just for a few minutes, allow your body to really feel the seated field of gravity. And what you have to do to find that seat. We're just going to go through a few mantras at the beginning like we do. While we begin to settle in and calm down and release whatever it is that's occupying our minds. Begin to bring a little awareness of how it feels to be sitting. We can easily feel our sits bones. This looks like I'm too low now. My technical difficulties. The bottom of your pelvis is this. It's almost like a rocking chair. It's rounded underneath, and at the very bottom, it's kind of a little flat and it's a little broader. It's really designed to take our weight in a seated position, something like this. And usually, because humans don't always have a block available, it's really perfect if you sit on your heels. Now, that's not available to many people in the modern world. We wear shoes and our ankles aren't open enough to be comfortable in a place like this. This might be too low Find whatever height you need to not feel any distress in your knees, and a chair is always available for this. If you sit kind of up on the edge of a chair, your knees beneath your hips, that's a great place to practice something like this. Find a comfortable distance for your knees to be apart, and you might want to open them up a little bit, see how that feels. Close them together a little bit, see how that feels. It's a variation, allowing our deeper mind, our moving the body mind to learn. It only learns through experience, through an aware experience where we're fully attentive is where the best learning happens. See if you can find that weight that's balanced. So maybe lean a little bit to your right. Just bring a little bit of the weight to the right. Feel what happens in your body. There's several ways we can move to the right. Now, I'm not being explicit. And then take a little move to the left. Try to just shift maybe 10% of the weight to the left. See what neutral feels like. And a little bit to the right again. Maybe even a little less than before. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. You can have your eyes closed or open. Think about that healing balloon, just gently lifting the head. Try to make this movement back and forth a little bit smaller each time, finding a little bit more ease and as slow as we can until we can almost barely move. Allow your belly to soften. When you've come to stillness with that back and forth, side to side, allow your belly to soften. Feel the lower back as the belly softens. Lower back contract just a little bit. Curve just a little bit more. And let that happen. As the lower back curves just a little bit as the belly expands, notice what happens in the curve of the neck with the chin. Relax the jaw. And then a little bit forward and back. So bring your awareness to this point about 2 inches beneath your belly button. And just imagine that going back maybe just an inch backwards. And then maybe back to neutral. See if you can just do this with your belly. So bring it backwards, just draw tone. It's not really a big engagement, just allow the belly to tone. Become a little tight down here and feel the pelvis. What we're doing is we're bringing the pubic bone up towards the belly, towards the navel. And on the inhale, just through relaxing the belly, feeling the pressure at that point 2 inches beneath the navel. So we're not really engaging the back, we're just allowing the back to follow the movement of the belly. How can we relax into the back? Maintain that feeling of balance between the left and the right sit bone. And kind of simultaneously feeling as we're drawing the navel in, the pelvis is rolling a little bit. It's rolling so the pubic bone is coming up slightly towards the navel. And as we're relaxing the belly, allow the belly to expand a little bit. Don't push it out, just allow it to relax. And the back will follow. Relax into your shoulders. Anytime you start to feel any distress in your knees or your ankles or anything, you come out of this position. Just come in any seated position. But this is a position that humans, our bodies are really suited to be sitting like this. Japanese sitting. That's kind of what it is. If you're sitting on your heels, it would be Japanese sitting. We're taking a little bit of that stress off here because we're more concerned with the pelvis and relaxing all that we can into the pelvis. Feeling the belly expand out. Now remember, as the belly expands out, we're imagining a point in the center of the pelvis that's expanding in all directions, a ball. So as the belly's expanding, feel the back relax. See if you can let it relax. It's still going to arch a little bit, but let it become longer as it's arching. Allow your pelvis to distribute the weight between upper body into the legs and into the earth. Now let's begin that side-to-side movement again. Let's actually really come to the side. Come to one side or the other. I'm coming to the left. And just do that several times. Slowly, just bring your weight to the left. I'm bringing my weight to the left. And notice what happens. Right? The right side, what's happening with the right? Well, it depends on what's happening with your chest. We can move the whole body weight to the left. And then the right hip past the left. That's one way we can do this, and that's a really nice variation. Notice what happens. We get this rotation. On my left leg, it's rotating inward with respect to the movement of the belly and back. Slightly different movement on the other side, on the right side. So that's one way. We can move the whole body over, but that's not the only way. We can just bring the left shoulder over the right and really arch the side of the body so the right side gets longer and the left shoulder comes over towards the left pelvis. We can even allow the head to get involved. These are two very different movements in our body. Learn how to differentiate between these movements. This movement is almost entirely in the spine. This is a spine side flexion. My pelvis is more or less even. When I'm coming over like this, I am just rolling on my pelvis in a different way. It's also designed to roll this way, bringing the weight over. We can feel that weight shift. And since we're moving through the pelvis rather than allowing the pelvis to stay still, we feel the movement in the hips. Right? So this is primarily a hip movement. The spine is more or less straight and the hips are moving. So we can move the spine. We can move just the pelvis, or we can do both. Roll over and bring the shoulder. Right, so this is where we're going to get the maximum amount of movement of our torso to the left, is when we allow the whole body to organize, to move efficiently in that direction. These are important movements for humans to be able to make, and to be able to understand the difference between using your back. So if I were lifting something from this way, I wouldn't want to use the back to do that. I'd want to roll on my pelvis, keeping my back stabilized until I came all the way upright. So these are different movements that, don't worry about thinking about it. Just give your brain the opportunity to feel the difference. And you can do this with different leg widths, and that gives you a different feeling in the pelvis. It gives you an entirely different feeling. It's a nice little movement. So let's just extend both legs. We're going to be seated for just another minute or so. Just extend both legs. You can stay on your block or you can come onto the floor. Sometimes we don't really want to keep our knees bent like that for very long if we're not used to it. Or if you've had multiple knee surgeries like I have. Just bounce them a little bit. You can roll the feet a little bit slowly. Just feel that movement in the pelvis. And then let's go ahead and come back into this easy seat, this easy kneeling seat. And let's think about bringing that same movement to the right side. Now, if you did the right side first time, just do left this time. So just begin by imagining bringing your body into the space to the right. How do you do that? Normally, like I just did. I kind of got the whole thing involved. I was doing a little bit of spine. I was doing a little bit of rolling on the pelvis. Just notice, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. That's just what I noticed about my body in this moment. Yours may be doing something else. It's not what it's doing, it's the observation that's important. So now let's try to separate those movements out, differentiate between them. If you talk to physical therapists and stuff, they will call something like this dissociation. And we never want to dissociate in life. We don't want to dissociate from anything. We want to enjoy everything with life, right? So I don't like the term dissociation. It has bad context. Differentiation is really what we're doing. There's no way we can dissociate these movements. All we can do is try to differentiate what's being engaged one way or the other. So I'm starting with rolling the pelvis, allowing the whole body weight with the spine more or less straight the whole time. Just a few times. Where can I let go? What can I let go of? It's those little micro holding patterns that keep us where we are. And they're not going to change with big movement. They're only going to change with minor movement. So now let's try just dropping the right shoulder down. Left shoulder feels like it's lifting, but we're not lifting the shoulder. We're feeling the whole torso, the spine curve to the right. And then slowly release back. Notice how your weight has to shift. Notice what happens with your spine to try to keep the sits bones, the pelvis, balanced. Right, that's the big difference between these. This is more or less pure spine. You can allow your head to get involved if you like. It's not necessary. And then try to combine those two movements a little bit, rolling and then over into space. Just slowly and easily. Don't roll the pelvis and then try to arch the spine. Try to allow both to happen, to integrate into one smooth movement. And over time of finding our seat in these different ways, we can be comfortable in a chair without slouching all the way down. We can allow our back to be long and strong without effort. All right, so why don't we come on to our backs now. Come to stillness for a moment. Enjoy the seated position if you like. Come on to our backs. Just lay all the way down and just give yourself that moment. That moment of release from that force of gravity. Our body has to either work with or work against. So this is a big part of what we do, is trying to find how our body moves in the field of gravity when we're outside of gravity. So just as a reminder, the directions I use, actually in every class I teach now, is up is the direction from your navel to your head. Right? So right now, up to me is towards the ceiling, but if I was laying over like this, up would be towards that wall. Okay? Up is whatever direction my head is from my navel. Down is whatever direction my tail is from my navel. Okay, so that's up and down. Those are the big ones. So if you're lying on your back, and this is the big one, if you're lying on your back and I ask you to bring your arm up over your head, it's this way, not that way. Up is this way. Over your head is this way. As if we were in a field of gravity. So we want to simulate that movement, but have gravity acting in a very different way. So of course, the front is always going to be the way I'm looking if my eyes are in line with my navel. Right, front of the body, back is where the back of the body is, so into the earth right now. And the right is where my right hand lives, and left is where my left hand lives. So basically it's the up and down that are sometimes confusing. Give yourself a few moments. Breathe deep. Deep but easy. effortless, flowing feeling as the waves of the breath come in and gently roll up onto the beach of your pelvis. And then slowly begin to roll out along the beach down to the reservoir. The beach being your spine and the reservoir coming out through the nostrils. Welcome to bring your hands to the place where you can feel both the hardness of the ribs and the softness of the belly with both hands. With the elbows relaxed and easy on the floor. Begin to question how it feels to be me in this moment. Recognizing that that question can have different answers, depending on perspective. Right? There's the external view of ourselves. And this is the view that we get, or the sounds or tastes that we get when we use our 5 external senses, right? Sight, hearing, taste, touch. I'm probably forgetting one there. I think I'm forgetting one, but that tells us how we are situated with respect to that which we believe lies outside of us. And when that information comes in, we are most likely to turn that into a story immediately. Sounds have meanings from words, and taste, and smells. We know the evocative nature of smells. So that's one way we can feel how our body feels lying on the ground. We can notice what the difference is between parts of our body that are on the ground. Perhaps our heels, perhaps the back of the pelvis, the back of the head, back of the shoulders, and those parts which are not in contact. We're not feeling, we're not having that direct sensual experience with the ground in some places that we are in others. And maybe, there might be an odor from the kitchen wafting in, left over from dinner, whatever. It's all what's happening outside of us. And the smell's the smell, but we turn it into a story by thinking about dinner immediately or whatever it's associated with. And then we allow that to run wild in our mind. And that's going to happen. Don't try to stop it. Let it happen. When it gets to an end, when it gets that natural progression of an end of a thought pattern, when you're done with those associations, that's the time to draw your attention back to how does it feel to be right now, with or without a story. It'll probably be with the story first, and then allow yourself to go storyless. Begin to feel the sensations that don't always need a story. Those sensations that emanate from within. And if we listen carefully, we can hear them speak with us. And you may be skeptical, but some of these sensations you're very familiar with. If you are feeling hungry or thirsty, if you have to relieve yourself. These are very loud internal voices. These we pick up on. We often ignore them. We often dismiss them. We usually hear them. But there's a deeper layer that's very deep in our body. We want to tap into that. These sensations, these sensations of feeling the connection between parts of the body as we move These sensations of really, how are we feeling? Homeostasis. Are we feeling a little off kilter from normal? Do we know what normal feels like? Do we pay attention? These are the times when we can begin to find the baseline. How does it feel to be me? I mean, ultimately, what other purpose do you have except to be concerned with how does it feel to be me? And that may change from moment to moment. But there's a part of us, of all of us, there's a part of us that's always there. That's always true. And we've all felt that at times. Okay, so why don't we, while we're here, why don't we bring our toes towards the ceiling so that the back of the heels, their Achilles arch, we can feel on the ground. I got all off on some kind of tangent there. And just from this point, where can we let go? What can we let go of? How much work do we really have to do to point our toes towards the ceiling when we're lying on the floor? Sometimes it just amazes me how much work that involves in my body. There's tightness that forms from that. And just noticing that, and then allow the feet to go wherever they want to do if you relax the pelvis as much as you can let it go. Slowly, now a little bit more slowly, bring the feet so that the toes are up towards the ceiling. Noticing what happens in the pelvis and the lower back. What muscles are engaging? Where can you feel muscles tightening and muscles becoming longer? Without naming them, don't worry about their names. The name is a story. The name has nothing to do with function. If you don't believe me, you can take the person that's the world expert on finger anatomy, knows everything about fingers, and I'll bet the odds are that they can't play the piano any better than a 6-year-old that's been taking lessons for a week. Just because you know the names of the muscles does not mean you know how to use those muscles in your body. So next time you find your feet towards the ceiling, just see where you can let go. And maybe this will help us to feel where we can let go. Gently press the right heel into the floor. Just a little bit of energy, just so you can feel where the engagement is. Maybe you feel the engagement along the back of the leg, maybe all the way up to the back of the pelvis. Just a couple times. Just organizing your body to press that heel down. Where do you feel the energy travel in your body? These are the sensations. We don't need a story. In fact, it's almost magic where you can feel pressure on your heel in your body. And now let's do the same on the left. Just a couple little, this might feel totally different from me. The left doesn't really organize to press the heel down nearly as well as on the right. I'm right-handed, right-footed. You can notice the difference, and that's what this is about. One side can learn from the other. Just several times, well, it's just a totally different sensation for me. I don't feel that really nice, smooth, easy engagement all the way along the back of the leg on the left side. I feel kind of mottled. It's not clear. The sensations aren't clear. But that's part of this learning process, is learning that lack of clarity is a type of understanding. Recognizing that it's not clear is the invitation to find that clarity. Go ahead and allow the feet to spin out again for another moment, or whichever way they want to go to relax. Relax into your pelvis. Continue to keep your hands on your chest. This is just a way to give our brain more feedback. So we're getting feedback through our arms about what's happening in the center part of our body without even knowing what's going on. And now go ahead and slowly roll over the heels, bring the toes back towards the ceiling. And now engage your right glutes, right? Your butt cheek on the right side, engage it until you can feel it. And then slowly let it go. And then press the right heel down a little bit. Release the heel, engage the right butt cheek just a little. See if you can start to feel that connection. Usually what happens is after you invite someone to give a little bit of energy to their butt cheek and then ask them to push their heel down again, they feel the glute is really the muscle engaging that's pushing the heel down all along. This relationship between the glute muscles and the heels, we can feel into this as we're walking, is really the most critical relationship to keep us upright. So let's go over to the left side now. Let's do that same thing. Let's go ahead and just press the left heel down a little bit. Just feel how that is. You might feel immediately the left glute engaging now as we press the heel down. But go ahead and relax, pressing the heel down, and just squeeze the glute. Squeeze the glute, and if you can relax into the pelvis, you feel the pelvis rotate to the right if you squeeze the left glute. And you can also feel the pressure in the heel. So now try to press into the heel. By pressing into the heel, see if you can allow the pelvis to rotate a little bit. The glutes are definitely engaging here, but we're just thinking about it in these different ways. This is part of the variation. Variation is mental as well as physical. You start to notice, wow, just even the slightest little pressure on the heel now might give a significant rotation, rolling of the pelvis towards the right. See if you can start to bring your awareness to the lower right back, the right side of your spine, all the way up to your neck as you're pressing the heel down and allowing the pelvis to rise. See if you can allow the right side of your body to relax with this gentle, easy movement. Pressing the heel down engages the glutes on the left side. The glutes press into the floor. Just pressing the glutes down. The pelvis rotates a little bit. And go ahead and relax. Go ahead and let that go for a moment. What I like to do after something like that to relax, there's two things I like to do. One is I like to bounce my butt cheeks. So I was working on the left, so I'll squeeze the right first and just bounce. And then the left and bounce. So squeeze them quickly and let go quickly. So it's just kind of a bounce. And you can feel the reverberations of that up and down your body. Just a gentle little bounce. Another thing I like to do, and this is a whole nother class, but is if your toes are towards the ceiling and you begin to press your heels down just a little bit, see if you can bring your heels towards your chest and then push your toes away. So you're pressing your toes away and then bringing them towards you very slowly. I started fast just to show you the effect. See if you can feel the pressure coming from the heels up the legs, rotating the spine, rotating the pelvis, transmitting the energy up the spine so that my chin is moving as my heels move. Now I'm not moving my chin except from the heels. It's just the energy going up the heels. This is the skeletal. This is this deep pattern of energy, skeletal energy in the body. You want to feel. So go ahead and relax once again. Let all that stuff go. And we're going to go back to the right side and feel that same thing that we did on the left. We did a little bit more on the left than we did on the right. So just to get those sensations on the right, go ahead and bring the heel, roll the heels back down towards the floor, toes towards the ceiling. Begin to press the right heel down a little bit and engage the right glute at the same time. And notice maybe just pressing the heel down and the glute wants to engage. You can bring your hands to the glutes. I kind of sometimes bring my thumb. Just bring it to the back of the glute and have my fingers kind of on the ridge of my pelvis here so that my thumb can feel the glute engage. And it can be a pretty astounding bit of engagement there. There's a lot of movement. Allow the right, so you're squeezing the left, we're squeezing the right, I'm sorry. Squeezing the right, allow the left side of the body to become heavy and then slowly back down. And you can do a couple a little bit quicker. Just feel the waves of energy through the body. We want to be able to feel our body no matter what speed we're moving, so we'll start moving a little bit quicker sometimes after we've done some slow movements. Top it off a little bit of quicker movements, just allow the brain to process in a little bit different way. It knows the movement now, so it can start to get control as we speed up. So. All right, so let's bring the right leg to standing. Let's bring both legs to standing. Let's bring both legs to standing. Reorganize yourself and try to find a place where your knees are more or less over your heels. So almost like we're standing, right? So if the weight of the knees is coming straight down the lower legs into the floor. For me, it's a place where I can kind of grab my ankles. This is a place where I can put the least amount of energy into my legs and my feet and get the maximum amount of movement to the rest of the body. This is the way the human body wants to work, processing and transferring energy from the lower body up to the upper body. So this is a nice little way to feel into that. Okay, so we've done these plenty of times, right? So just exhale, allow the navel to tone a little bit of weight into the feet. You can keep your hands on your belly if you like. I really like doing it this way. And then release. And the exhale, drawing the navel down just a little bit. Feel the pelvis roll so the pubic bone comes up towards the chest. Just a little bit. Maybe a little weight in the heels and release. Feel a little bit of movement here. And maybe start to feel as we're pressing our feet into the floor and the pelvis is starting to roll. Maybe we can actually feel that. We can almost feel the tailbone. On the inhales, the belly expands, and the back lifts off the floor a little bit. Almost feel it. And then as we exhale, we can feel maybe the lower pelvis come closer to the floor, and then the back of the pelvis, the sacrum, to come onto the floor. And then maybe if we come along, continue that way, drawing the navel up towards, into the belly and up towards the chest, maybe we can start to peel the lower back slowly off the floor, one vertebrae at a time. So I'm just at the top of the pelvis now. I'm going to lower it back down, letting go wherever I can let go. So on the exhale, we're going to lift on the exhale. That just helps us to remember to tone the belly a little bit. We can do it on an inhale, as long as we remember to tone the belly a little bit. And that helps us to roll the pelvis, toning the belly, draws the pubic bone up, helps us to round the lower back and maybe lift a little bit higher now. Equal weight in both feet. Feel both feet on the floor. Maybe we're a vertebrae or two up, and slowly lower down as slow as you can. Maybe on an inhale. I'm going very, very slow. So you can do several breaths. You can just let this movement happen and let your body breathe through it. Make sure you give yourself time to relax. Whenever you're lying on the floor, let yourself scan, let go of everything. So I'm starting to bring this weight up. I can feel like those little sticky outy things on the back of the spine. I can kind of feel those on the earth.
Through space.
I can feel the pressure as I'm lifting a little bit. I can feel the weight beginning to roll down into the spine on the floor as I slowly lift. Just by allowing the weight on my feet to become a little bit heavier, drawing the pelvis up, allowing the back to lengthen, and then slowly back down. And extend your legs. Let's just take a little break. So we're trying to find the line of the spine. So we're going to come back and do this same thing one more time. And I want you to think about where the front of your spine is in your body. And we can feel the back of the spine on the floor. That's an external thing. See if you can feel the front side of the spine, the belly side of the spine. That's pretty much where the center of the body is. See if we can start to feel the movement there. Let's bend the legs once again, bring them to standing. Find that comfortable place where you can do the least amount of energy into the legs and feel that lift. Start doing that once again. See if you can feel the lift from the inside. See if that doesn't help you feel the toning in the front of the body. The front of the body is shortening. And the whole spine is getting longer on the back side. It's shortening on the front side and lengthening on the back. Up and down a couple times once again. There are just almost innumerable little muscles that intertwine between the vertebrae. If one of those guys gets chronically engaged, that can create just hell for your life. There's no way massive exercise, big movements can correct something like that. It has to come from learning to relax deeper and deeper. Allow the movement to integrate. So this movement happens on a small scale throughout the entire body. Okay, so let's try something a little bit different now. Let's interlace our fingers and bring them behind the head. So we've managed to access maybe our spine up to maybe between the shoulder blades or so as we're lifting the pelvis. You can feel that external part of the spine and imagine the internal part. Listen to the internal part of the spine. Now we're going to do something a little bit different with your hands interlaced behind your head. Now let's not confuse this with a crunch or a sit-up or anything. This is far from that. I'm going to ask you to begin to organize to lift your head. I don't think I've had you do much of this. So your hands are there to actually lift the head. Allow the elbows to slowly come together on the exhale as you allow the elbows to lift towards the knees, and that lifts the head. The chin comes down towards the collarbone and the ribs soften. This is the important part. The ribs soften and the ribs pull down towards the pubic bone, and the pubic bone pulls towards the ribs, and that's what lifts your body. It's not your head, it's not your arms torquing on your head. Your head is relaxed, your neck is relaxed, your jaw is relaxed, so bring your awareness to your spine and the back, the upper back. Now, see as you lift your head, tuck your chin, extend your back of your neck long. See if you can start to feel that space above your shoulders on your spine on the floor. And then begin to roll slowly up until you start to feel a little bit of resistance and come on back down. So maybe we can meet in the middle, right? Maybe we got up to the shoulders, the shoulder blades from the leg. into the shoulder blades, one vertebrae at a time. Allow the elbows to softly come together. We're not using strength. Most of the energy is, I'm just holding my head, so I don't have to use my neck to hold my head at all with the shoulder blade. All the energy to lift me is coming from shortening this area from the navel to the sternum. Ribs are softening, ribs are pulling towards the pelvis. And we're not doing this for strength. We want to try it a little bit different every time. Maybe we can come up a little bit towards the right, just a little bit. So you can get that space on top of the shoulder blades. Alright, so maybe if you direct your gaze a little bit to the left, maybe you can allow the weight to come into the top of the left shoulder blade. Maybe the same thing on the right side. Once again, from this position, notice the difference between the external sensation, the spine on the ground, and what's happening on the inside. As your body has to reorganize, all the internal organs have to reorganize for us to do this. Feel that. And it's not easy. And then go ahead and relax back down. Just let it go. You can keep your legs up. I'm coming into a constructive rest with the knees together. You can extend your legs. Just allow yourself to relax. Alright, so let's take a look at this again now. Let's take a look at this again. So interlace your fingers, but do it the non-habitual way. So if you always put your right index finger above your left index finger, pull them apart, and put your left index finger above your right. So it feels like it's somebody else's hands coming together. Bring them up behind the head, find that relaxed spot. Go ahead and allow the elbows to slowly come together. Drawing the chin. The whole front of the body is short. This connection, this muscular connection all the way down to the pelvis. That's what we're looking at there. And then slowly relax back down. And as you come down, go ahead and begin to press into the feet and peel the lower back off. Slowly lower down. See if you can feel the bottom of both feet, the inner edge, the outer edge, the toes. Play around with that a little bit. And then go ahead and slowly lift the head again. We're just going back and forth several times. Feeling the difference between engaging from the upper torso and from the lower torso. We're peeling. We're not lifting as a board. We're peeling. You might even start to feel that you can almost come all the way up to your neck from your feet. And you might begin to feel that you can get almost all the way down to your pelvis. It's not about strength. It's about organizing your body so that it doesn't work against itself. And then maybe we can try both at the same time. So on an exhale, try to lift your pelvis and your head at the same time. Just so you start to feel it. We're not forcing anything. Slowly. Maybe just try that a couple times. You might feel you are working your abdominal muscles here. There's no doubt about it. But what we're trying to do is learn to use those correctly. A lot of people, when they will do a crunch or sit up or something, they will arch their back and try to do this stuff. It's the exact opposite. The back wants to be long, and we roll on the back. The back is rolling. That's now like the rocking chair in the belly. That's what's drawing us together. The ribs. People flare their ribs up to do a sit-up. It's working against yourself. Sit-ups aren't that good for you anyway. turning. So go ahead and relax again for just a minute. You start to feel your back maybe feeling a little more relaxed, a little easier on the floor. Scan through your body, just noticing any places that a little bit of tension is developing, parts of the body that want to help out. Just bring your awareness there and a little bit of the breath. Try to soothe that part of the body.
Through space and time.
Alright, so now let's go ahead and bring our feet back up. Find that comfortable place. Like I said, I'm usually like right about here, so I can touch my ankles with my fingers. Pretty much is about right for me. So now what I'm going to ask you to do is begin to slowly press into the right foot so that the right upper leg becomes longer. So that we're kind of rolling a little bit to the left and then back down. Now, we're not really concerned with the rolling so much. What we're really concerned with here is trying to get every part of the left side of the back onto the floor. Just rolling so that we can feel the floor with every part of the left side of the back. How can we organize our body to press that right heel away, allow us to roll and relax onto different parts of the left side of the body? Just easy. Just notice if, as we're rolling to the left, if there's part of your body that tries to get away from the floor on the left side, the right side's going to come away. And back.
Through space and time.
When we hold tension in the lower back, we'll feel the lower back maybe moving away from the floor as we roll onto it. It doesn't want to relax. It doesn't want to become part of the earth. So feel into that. You can use your breath and expand into that space with an inhale. Allow the belly to expand as you roll onto that side. Relax into it. Just a few rolls, and then try the other side, pressing into the left foot. Just noticing if there's any difference. So for me, when I was rolling to the left with my right foot, the left side of the body goes down on the floor real easy. Well, for me, I've got a little kink in the right lower back down here, and there's a place that just is always a little tense, and I can feel it trying to tense up even more so that it rises above the floor. Several times. Slow and easy, making sure that you allow yourself to relax in between. Find that full ease. You don't want to train for tension.
Through space and time.
And now, while we're here,
Space and time.
why don't we begin once again to press into the left foot and allow the left pelvis to lift a little bit, rolling onto the right side, left knees towards the ceiling. And then press the right foot down, bringing the pelvis level, equal weight on both feet. And then slowly let the left side come down. Let it come down, let it feel that whole left side of the back on the floor, and then allow the right side to come down. Once again, lift the left, pressing into the left foot. Feel just a little bit lift, maybe a little bit more than last time. Maybe we roll a little bit more onto the right. And then press the right foot down, lifting it up to meet the left. And then the left side back down. Slowly. So this is a very complex movement here. We're keeping the upper spine, the upper body still, and we're creating this rotator down, lifting the left, and then the right up to meet it, and the left comes down, and the right comes down. Now let's change that now. We'll begin with lifting the right a little bit, pressing the right foot down, and then following with the left, finding that balance
left side comes down, then the right side. That's what we're doing. Actually, if we have what we're doing, the left, yeah, lift the left, and the right.
I'm
The left back down. Whatever we're doing the opposite. Whatever it is, it feels great. And then take a break. Just take a little bit of a break. Extend the legs if that feels right for you. Start to notice. Maybe you feel a little bit more expansive. We've been moving on our back. We've been feeling our back. We've been feeling our sides. Maybe we feel like we're feel into space around us a little bit more now. The sensation is, wow, we're just so much more awake and aware in our body. We can listen with our entire body. And we're hearing more around us. So let's bring our legs back to standing.
through space and time.
Actually, let's just bring the right leg to standing. Let's bring the left leg long. Let's go ahead and do a yin pose. So find a bolster or something that's handy. And I'll show you where we're going. We're actually just going right where we've been. I'm going to bring the left arm up over the head. And I'm going to start to roll using my pelvis to find every part of the left side of my body. Pressing the pelvis down on the left side once the right side picks up. And try with this rolling. And I can do some other things. I can roll my head along with this to try to reach every part of my back with this movement. And then when you've done that for a few times, we're going to begin to lock that position. So I'm going to bring this bolster up under, we haven't really done the movement yet, up under that right pelvis, so that I can breathe into the left side of my body, keeping the shoulders more or less frozen out, so that I'm freezing in this twist in this yin pose. Now, the question is what to do with the right leg. Well, I like to come into an open, almost a sideways butterfly kind of pose. Get a little openness throughout the front of the pelvis, especially into the hip flexors, all the way down through here. Or the other alternative is to allow the knee to fold across towards the other knee. The head can glide to the left towards the ceiling, or if you want to enhance the twist some more with the pelvis going to the left, you can allow the head to go to the right and really create a complex twist in your spine to breathe in. So it's just doing this rolling just a few times onto the left side, really trying to melt as much as you can the left side of your body into the floor by pressing into the right foot. If you want, you can even bring the right hand behind the head and you can start to roll the head as well as pressing into the right foot, and that gives you even more access. This gives you precision access to every part of your back, you'll find. Press into the right foot, and roll to the left, come up this way a little bit, you can reach every square centimeter of the left side of your back. And when you've had enough movement, come to stillness, and we'll be here for about is that really the time? We'll be here for about 3 minutes, it looks like. This is not an official yin pose. You will not find this in any book by Paul Grilly or Bernie Clark or Sarah Powers. This is just one that I made up that goes with this movement. And we're breathing. We're trying to allow us to access the back through our breath. Breathing into the back body. So even on an inhale, we can feel the front of the body is a little softer. It can expand up into space, but we also want to feel the back on an inhale expand into the floor without effort, without working. Just allow the natural expansiveness, the openness of an inhale to move your body closer to the floor. Try also breathing into the right side, bringing your awareness to the right side, the part that's off, that's on the bolster. It might feel even easier to breathe into the right side of your body. Let every breath take away a little bit more tension. Feel your belly expand on the inhale. Feel the lower back expand towards the floor. Feel the ribs expand from side to side. Neck to belly. Slowly bring the right knee back up towards the ceiling and the right foot on the floor. Slowly and easily bring a little bit of weight to the right foot. Just organize to lift the right pelvis without lifting it yet. Maybe do that several times. Press into the right foot a little bit. Feel the engagement, let go. Engagement without big, there's a little bit of movement going on. Anytime a muscle contracts, there has to be movement going on. Movement somewhere. And then allow the weight to become a little bit heavier into the foot until the right pelvis lifts. And slide the bolster out of the way. Bring it to the other side. Allow the right leg to extend long for a while, or you can bring the knees together into a restorative rest position. Bring your awareness to your back, maybe noticing the difference between the right side and the left side. You might feel a marked difference between them. I am right now feeling just the opposite of what I would have told you you should feel. So everyone's going to feel something different. Don't let your expectations get in the way of the true sensations, the true experience. Then go ahead and bring the left knee to standing. Begin to press into the left foot, left knee towards the ceiling, and allow the whole right back to soften into the floor as we begin to roll in that direction. Purposefully trying to find a connection between the floor and every little piece of our back. Once again, we can bring the left hand behind the head if we like, and we can actually bring the movement of the head and the shoulders into this access with incredible precision anywhere on our back. Working on creating a little bit of more mobility and curiosity. So maybe begin to prepare yourself to find yourself lying more or less on the right side of your back, bringing the bolster in to support the left side of your back, an inch or two off the floor. You can bring your arms to wherever feels like it's most amenable to the right side of your body, flattening it to the floor. Your left leg can either drift outward. I find the support of the bolster on the side of the pelvis really supports even if the knees floating in space. Or you can allow the left knee to come across over towards the right. You can always put a bolster in between the knees in this case to support the left leg. We're just getting up. We're creating an openness, an invitation to openness in a different part of the pelvis. If we're crossing the knee open, we're inviting the outer hip to open up. We're inviting the hip abductors to be relaxing and lengthening. And when we allow it to go this way, we're inviting the hip flexors, also the adductors, to bring the legs together. We're allowing those to lengthen. In my case, I have more issues with tight hip flexors than I do with the tight, well, it's actually very often the glutes that what we're lengthening into when we're like this. It's the glutes that bring me into this position. Breathe into the right side. Breathe to lengthen the right side and to soften the right side of your back. I'm bringing my right arm up over my head. Create a little bit more length between the shoulder and the pelvis. I'm keeping the left hand on my body. Keeping it in that place between the soft belly and the more rigid chest. It's one of those interfaces in our body. It's a huge diaphragm lives there. A huge, strong muscle. Slowly, once again, organize. Bring your left knee back towards the ceiling, your left foot on the floor. Begin to just bring a little bit of pressure into the foot. You might even bring your left hand onto your glute to side here and feel how this muscle engages right on the side of your pelvis here. This is the glute, medial glute right here. It's helping you lift, organizing and releasing, organizing and releasing. How can you relax that space to lift it? And allow it to lift and slide out the bolster. Slowly make your way into a seated position. As usual, I had a lot more planned than that, but I hope you're enjoying the easy, slow stuff and really starting to feel the benefits of awareness within your body. Good. You're welcome to come Wednesday morning. You don't have to worry about paying for stuff. Come, we're going to be out here doing Wednesday, and we're going to do some more. We're going to do the stuff. We're going to do a lot of this kind of stuff, actually. Working on finding this part of the balance in our body. So rolling to these positions is what we're going to be working on Wednesday morning. So building up this strength. And this is where we all have a problem. From sitting. Okay, well, thank you very much. Have a lovely evening now. Bye now. And I will have this up. It's probably take me till tomorrow night to get this up on YouTube. Okay. Have a good night now. Bye.